everybody, how's it going? It's me, Krendor, and welcome back to another Battletome review. And today, I'm very excited because I get to review one of my favorite Warhammer races, the Skaven, not the Caven. So thank you to Games Workshop for sending me this Battletome early so that I can review it. And I've been really excited because my top 3 favorite Warhammer races, not 4, 3 are Lizardmen, Skaven, the rest. The rest, 3 through like 6 could be like Nurgle, Gits, Goblins, whatever, and then just various orcs. But 1 and 2 is just Lizardmen and Skaven, which is kind of funny because they like hate each other, but listen, I love me some lizards and I love me some rats, all right? So, I've looked through this book already, obviously, and I actually think it's pretty good. I like it a lot. I like what I've seen. Obviously, you're gonna get people that dislike it, people that love it. You get a bunch, but I remember even when the AOS 2.0 Seraphon book came out, so many people were like, dude, this book is awful. I can't do my mass skink spam where I go onto the point and then retreat off the point. How am I gonna win? And now it's like one of the most broken books. So, you know, I think sometimes it does take time for a book to kind of play out and people have to experiment and actually play some games to see how it goes, but I actually like this a lot. So, let's jump right in. We've got, you know, all your art and lore. I might actually read through a lot of this art and lore because, again, I love Skaven. There's a lot of cool stuff back here. Also, oh man, it's got that book smell, dude. I love that book smell. Oh, I thought that said Idiots of Decay. It didn't. So anyway, let's get to the main stuff here. We got painting guides, all that good stuff. Skaven allegiance abilities. All right. So there's a lot here. So let's start from up top. I'm gonna kind of just go over things that I think are good. I'm gonna read through some other things that I'm like, whatever. This is essentially my take on it. I don't want to go through everything and be like, this one, this, you know what I mean? I'm gonna skim over a lot, but you can essentially, you know, pause and look at stuff or whatever. So, Skaven battle traits. This is for the entire Skaven army. You get lead from the back, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons if the target is a friendly Skaven hero that is not a monster and is within 3 inches of any friendly Skaven units that have 3 or more models. Neat. So it's essentially just the Skaven lookout, sir. Which is cool for melee weapons, which is cool. You got Scurry Away, which is great in the combat phase. When you pick a friendly Skaven hero that does not have a mount to fight, you can say it will scurry away instead. If you do, that hero can retreat. And then strength in numbers, add 1 inch to the range of melee weapons used by friendly Skaven units for every 10 models in the attacking unit to a max of 3 inches. So this really does make it so like spears and stuff like that are probably not the best choice. If you can go like a sword or something, it's probably just going to be better because you're just going to get good range out of it anyway, you know. So I think sword clan rats are probably the way to go. And I think that's why they made Storm Vermin 1 inch. We'll get to that, but anyway, we have the Master Clan battle traits. So I'm actually a Master Clan type of guy. I like doing the old jack of all trades. So we have roll a dice before you allocate a wound or mortal wound to a friendly Master Clan hero is not a monster, or instead of making a ward roll for a blah 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 blah. If it's within 3 inches of a friendly Skaven unit that has 3 or more models, on a 3-up, you can allocate a wound or on a 3-up, that wound or mortal wound is allocated to one of those units instead of that hero. So you can pass off wounds and mortal wounds, which is nice. We have always 3 claw steps ahead. Hold on. I'm so bad at like showing this off. You can only use this ability if you include 3 or more Master Clan heroes in your starting army. After you pick a friendly Skaven unit to be your first unit to run in a phase and make a run roll for that unit, you can use that run roll in place of any other run rolls you make for friendly Skaven units till the end of that phase. So if you roll like a 5 on your first run roll, all your other units can run 5, which is crazy. I love that. The best one's probably the charge, because if you roll a really good charge, say you roll a 12, even like a 10 plus, all your units can charge 10 plus. Like, that's really good. Obviously, if you roll like ass and it's like a 3, you're like, well, guess everybody's just rolling their own charges. And then after you pick a friendly Skaven unit to be your first unit to fight in the phase, make a pile and move for that unit. You can make pile and moves for each other friendly Skaven unit on the battlefield that is within 3 inches of enemy units. So this is crazy because you can do this, and then you can pile in again when they fight. So you could essentially get a 6-inch pile in, which is very good. So, you know what? Pretty good to me. Then we have Clan Moulder over here. So prize creations. At the start of the first battle round, after determining who has the first turn, but before the first turn begins, you pick one Hell Pit Abomination in your army to have a mutation from the table opposite. If you include 3 or more Master Moulders in the starting army, you can pick each Hell Pit Abomination in your army to have a mutation instead of only one. The same Hell Pit Abomination cannot have more than one mutation, and any army cannot include duplicates of the same mutation. So the big wording I think here is at the start of the first battle round, after determining who has the first turn, but before the first turn begins. So you can essentially just pick which mutation does best against whoever you're playing. You know what I mean? So you don't have to be like, oh, this is what I'm going to choose going into this game. You can look at your opponent's army and be like, you know what? He's got a lot of damage. I'm going to take the, 16 wounds, 4 up save, right? Get a bit tankier. Or you're like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and add 1 to each roll you make for Avalanche of Flesh, which is like a horde killing thing. Maybe they got a lot of hordes. You could use that. Maybe you want the move. You're like, you know what? I'm going to have to move around a lot. So you can like kind of pick and choose, which I think is really cool for the Hell Pit Abomination. And I think the Hell Pit Abomination is like crazy. So let's keep going. We have Clan Ashen. Hold on. I'm going to like... I gotta move some stuff. All right, here we go. So, Clan Ashen. At the start of the first battle round, after determining who has the first turn, but before the first turn begins, you pick one enemy hero on the battlefield, add 1 to hit rolls and wound rolls for attacks made by friendly Ashen units to target that hero. If you include 3 or more Ashen heroes, add 1 to hit and wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by friendly Clan Ashen units to target enemy heroes. So just enemy heroes in general. So that's really good. I mean, +1 to hit and wound, always good. A lot of these they show on the website too, like Clan Verminus. There's a heroic action you can carry out 1 friendly Claw Lord instead of picking 1 from the table in the core rules. If you do so, pick 1 eligible command trait from page 7071 that this Claw Lord does not already have and apply its effect to the unit until the end of this turn. If you include 3 or more Claw Lords in your starting army, you can carry out this heroic action with each friendly Claw Lord instead of just 1. The same command trait cannot be picked with this ability more than once in the same turn. So this could be pretty fun to play around with. I haven't thought of the possibilities yet, but I'm sure there are plenty. Now we get to the ones they haven't shown on the website. Clan Scryer. These are my 2 favorites, Scryer and Pestilent. Whenever I would play, I'd either Master Clan, number 1, Scryer, and then Pestilent was the one I always wanted to play because I like Nurgle, but I never really played. So you got your Warpstone Sparks. If you include any Clan Scryer heroes in your starting army at the start of the battle, before either player starts deploying units, you can roll a d3 and add 3 to the roll. If you include 3 or more Clan Scryer heroes in your starting army, you can roll a d6 and add 3 to the roll instead. The result is the number of Warpstone Sparks you receive that can be used during the battle. You cannot use more than 1 Warpstone Spark in the same phase. Each Warpstone Spark can be used once per battle to carry out one of the following Warpstone Spark abilities. In your hero phase, pick 1 friendly Clan Scryer Wizard. You can reroll casting, dispelling, and unbinding rolls. At the end of that phase, on a 1, you suffer d3. You can pick a hero, and then pick 3 different friendly Clan Scryer units wholly within 13. Add 1 to the damage characteristic of missile weapons used at the end of the phase on a 1, it takes d3. And then in the combat phase, you pick a friendly Scryer hero. Say they'll use that. If you do, add 1 to hit and wound rolls, and on a 1, they take d3. So, pretty neat. My only confusion is like the wording. Because they say each Warpstone Spark can be used once per battle to carry out one of the following Warpstone Spark abilities. So does that mean you can only use these once per battle? So you do like that once, that once, that once, right? But that would mean, why do you even roll for sparks then? Because you can only use 3 the whole battle, right? Maybe I'm just reading the wording wrong. I don't know. If I am, just like correct me. So I'm like, wait, what? So yeah, I don't know. Unless there's like other things you use Warpstone Sparks for, but I don't know. Clan Pestilence. Here we go. We've got Great Plagues. When you make a chanting roll for a friendly clan Pestilent priest, you can add 1 to the chanting roll for each other clan's Pestilent priest wholly within 13 of the chanter. In addition, if the chanting roll for a prayer chanted by a friendly clan Pestilent priest is 6+, you can pick one of the following Great Plagues to manifest, in addition to the effect of the prayer. Each Great Plague can only manifest once per battle. No more than 1 Great Plague can manifest in the same turn. So, notice they said on a 6+, not an unmodified 6+, a 6+. That's pretty big because you can obviously have Pestilent priests next to each other, or at least wholly within 13, and then the gnaw holes give them +1. So you could essentially just get +2 or +3 pretty easily. So pretty much a 50% or higher chance of just straight up getting a Great Plague. And then when you do that, you probably take Never Plague, which is if this Great Plague manifests, you can reroll chanting rolls for friendly clan Pestilent priests for the rest of the battle. So you probably take that. Yep. Then we have Bubonic Blight Plague. This one's wild. Some of these I believe were in the old book. But either way, if this Great Plague manifests, pick the nearest enemy unit within 13 of the chanter. That unit's infected with the Bubonic Blight Plague. Several enemy units are tied to be the closest. You can pick whichever one you want to be infected. The infected unit suffers 2d6 mortal wounds. Knowing me, that's probably 2 to 3 mortal wounds. If the infected unit is destroyed by those mortal wounds, you can pick another enemy unit within 6 inches of the last model to be slain in the infected unit. That unit is now infected and suffers d6 mortal wounds. If that infected unit is likewise destroyed, you pick another enemy unit within 6 of the last model to be slain. The unit's now infected suffers d3 mortal wounds, and continue until either a unit is not destroyed or there are no other enemy units within 6 inches of a destroyed unit. So that can get crazy, especially if you're rolling high, but still, if you got a bunch of stuff clumped together, if you're playing an army likes to sit together and just kind of turtle like a Deepkin or something like that, all huddled up, and you give them the old Bubonic Blight Plague, oh my god, you can give them the old medieval ages out there. Then we got the Crimson Wheel Curse. If this Great Plague manifests, pick the nearest enemy unit within 13 of the chanter. Units infected with the Crimson Wheel Curse for the rest of the battle. If several enemy units are tied to be the closest, pick whichever. The infected unit suffers a mortal wound. In addition, at the start of each turn, the infected unit and each other enemy unit within 1 inch of the infected unit suffer a mortal wound. So pretty much it's just a constant mortal wound thing. So if you get that off early, that's pretty big. And then it helps to keep units away from that unit because they're like, I don't want to take mortal wounds. I don't want the curse. So that's pretty cool. And we have the Red Maw Plague. If this Great Plague manifests, pick the nearest enemy hero within 13. Heroes infected with the Red Maw Plague for the rest of the battle. If several enemy heroes are tied to be the closest, blah blah, at the start of the combat phase. If the infected hero is within 3 inches of any other units in your opponent's army and is not within 3 inches of any units in your army, you can treat that hero as friendly until the end of that combat phase. So that's pretty insane. You essentially mind control their hero and have him fight. I believe that was also in the old one, but these are still like crazy strong plagues. Then we have the Undulant Scourge. If this Great Plague manifests, pick the nearest enemy unit within 13 of the chanter. If several enemy units are tied, blah blah, you can pick which to do. For each 4 up, that unit suffers a mortal wound. So pretty much just a horde clearing plague. So a pretty nice variety of plagues to choose from, and the fact that you just re-roll chanting rolls too is insane. And again, I'm loving me some Clan Pestilent. All right, so we have command traits. So let's hold on here. Hold on. Sorry if the mic goes all crazy. I'm just trying to move it. There we go. So we have all these command traits. You got in the combat phase, if this general fights within 3 inches of an enemy unit that has not yet fought in the phase, add 2 of the attack characteristics of this general's melee weapons till the end of that phase. That's pretty good. That's all melee weapons. So that's actually insane if you get +2 to a lot of really good attacks. Master Clan hero only. if you carry out the heroic leadership action with this general, you can reroll a dice that determines whether you receive a command point. Cool. I guess. Then we have Master Clan only. You can reroll casting, spelling, and unbinding rolls. Okay. Master Clan only. Roll a dice each time an enemy model issues a command within 13 of this general. On a 5-up, that command is not received. The command point spent is lost, and you receive a command point. That's what I love. I love me some command point stealing. Plus, it's kind of like the mix of like Lady Olinder and Kurdos, because he steals a command point on a 5-up, and then Lady O makes your command point worthless. So this is kind of like a blend of the two, which I really like. I love stealing command points, especially with the amount of stuff you can do with command points now. And then you gain one as well. So, I mean, 33% chance, but it's every time within 13 inches that they issue one. So, I mean, they might be issuing a lot of commands. You might be near, like, their general or something. They might be dishing out commands with, like, a whole bunch of units. So, like, I don't know. Could be wild. Clan Moulder hero only. If this general is within 3 inches of another Clan Moulder unit, before you allocate a wound or mortal wound, you pretty much shrug on a 3-up. So that's good. Clan Moulder hero up here. Add 1 to hit rolls and wound rolls for attacks made by friendly fighting beast units wholly within 13 of this general. I mean, that's, again, always pretty good, adding 1 to hit and wounds. Clan Moulder hero. Once per battle, if this general is on the battlefield when a friendly pack unit is destroyed, you can say that it will call more of their creatures to the fore. If you do so, roll a dice. On a 3-up, a new replacement unit identical to the unit that was destroyed is added to your army. Set it up wholly within 13 and 9 inches away from enemies. A destroyed unit can only be replaced once. Replacement units cannot themselves be replaced. So that's still pretty wild. I mean, you have to roll the 3-up, but you essentially just get an entire unit back. Then we have Clan Eshin. This general counts as 2 Clan Eshin heroes for the purpose of the Master Murder battle trait. Alright. Clan Eshin, this general cannot be picked as a target of attacks made with missile weapons while they're within 1 inch of a terrain feature. Clan Eshin hero only, this general can fly. In addition, you can carry out the finest hour heroic action with this general twice in the same battle, but instead of once. That's pretty cool, because you're essentially just doing +1 to wound and save. And you get to do it twice, although you don't get your heroic action then. But, I mean, you might not need it. Hold on. Whoop. I gotta get my drink. Alright. Now we go over here. Clans Verminus hero only. If the general's within 3 inches of another Skaven, so it's another shrug, but for Verminus. We got a friendly Skaven unit within 3. Fails a battle shock test, you can say it will restore order with savage brutality. If you do so, that unit has not failed the battle shock test but suffers D3 mortal wounds, but that's still pretty good, because maybe you only take 1. Well, you might have lost more than that, obviously. You might have ways to shrug mortal wounds away, or I mean, there's a whole bunch of things you could do. But I think it's a nice little option. I also think it's fun just because, like, you could just picture the Skaven, like, yelling at him, like, hey, you're not running away, and then just, like, Clan Verminus hero only. The first 2 wounds or mortal wounds cost this general in each phase are negated. Alright. Clan Scryer hero only. If a friendly unit within 13 inches of this general that is hiding a weapon team unit is destroyed, the hidden weapon team is not destroyed. Instead, before removing the last model and the destroyed unit from play, you can set up the hidden weapon team wholly within 3 inches of that model, more than 3 inches from all enemy units. So that's nice, because you're probably going to have some weapon teams if you're playing Scryer, and if your unit gets wiped out, you don't want to lose that weapon team just randomly. So that is pretty cool. We have Clan Scryer hero only up top. Add 2 to the number of Warpstone Sparks you can use during a battle if your army includes this general. Oh, there we go. Still, the wording is so weird, you know what I mean? I guess it would be 5 in a battle then. So that would make sense. Clan Scryer hero only. At the start of your shooting phase, you can pick 1 friendly Clan Scryer unit wholly within 13 of the general. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with missile weapons by that unit until the end of the phase. Alright, that's, not bad, I guess. Clan Pestilence hero. Add 1 to chanting rolls for this general. Oh my god. So that guy can be... Dude, you pretty much... You get like +4 or 5 even to your cast, like your chanting and your casting. That's insane. Like pretty much anything but a 2, or no, anything but a 1, and you're like gonna pop a Great Plague or something, or like at least a 1 or a 2. So I mean that's pretty insane still. Clan Pestilence hero, add 1 to the damage characteristic of missile weapons used by friendly Plagueclaw units, wholly within 18 of this general. Like that's I honestly wish it would have been add 1 to the attack characteristic. I think that would have been so much more better of a command trait. You know what I mean? Because like +1 to the damage, it's already doing like D6 or 2d6 damage, but it only has 1 attack. So I feel like 2 attacks would be just much better. Maybe it's too strong if you do that, but I think +1 attack would have been the move there. And then Clan Pestilent hero only. At the end of the combat phase, roll a dice to this generals within 3 inches of enemy units. On a 4-up, enemy units within 3 inches of this general suffer D3 mortal wounds. So, you know, run them into something and pop the old mortal wounds. All right. So, the artifacts. Dude, I'm telling you, there's like so much stuff in this book. Mamma mia. It is kind of clustered because like you're like, I feel like they should have separated it by clan with like even little lines or something. Whatever. Master Clan hero. Pick one of the bear's melee weapons. If any wounds caused by attacks made with the weapon are allocated to an enemy unit that suffers a mortal wound at the end of each turn, even if those wounds are subsequently healed. So if you get a like round 1 or turn 1, you get a hit off on something, like it's just gonna keep taking mortal wounds. So that's pretty cool. And we have Skaven Brew, so they brought that back. Essentially, you just do D3 mortal wounds to a, or no, once per turn. I think it used to be once per battle. So now it's once per turn. In your hero phase, you can pick a friendly Skaven unit within 3 inches of the bear. That unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, but you can add 1 to the attack characteristic of melee weapons. Yo, that's really good now. I didn't even realize that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it used to be once per battle you could do this. Now it's once per turn. Yo, mamma mia, dude. That's really good. Staff of Rightful Supremacy. Subtract 1 from casting rolls for enemy wizards within 13. In addition, once per battle in your hero phase, when a friendly unit attempts to dispel an endless spell within 13, that endless spell is automatically dispelled. Clan Moulder. Pick one of the bear's melee weapons. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with that weapon is 6, that attack causes D3 mortal wounds to the target in addition to any damage it inflicts. That could be spicy on some things. We have the Rabid Crown, Clan Moulder hero. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by friendly Clan Moulder fighting beast and Clan Moulder pack units older than 13. Clan Moulder hero only. The bear has a wound characteristic of 10. In addition, at the start of the hero phase, you can heal 1 wound allocated to the bear. Clan Eshin. Once per battle at the start of the combat phase, you can say the bear will use this artifact. If you do so, strike first effect applies to the bear until your hero phase. That's pretty good. Once per battle at the end of your movement phase, you can remove the bear from the battlefield, set up again on the battlefield more than 9 inches from all enemies. So you literally just, you know, free teleport. And then once per battle in your hero phase, you can pick a terrain feature within 6 inches. That terrain feature has the scenery rules from the Gnawhole War Scroll. So you can turn something into a war, or a Gnawhole. That's actually pretty fun. I like that. Over here we got Clan Verminus. The bear cannot be picked as a target of combat by more than 1 unit per phase. That's actually pretty good. So you can only get picked out by 1 thing. Actually, I like that one. We have Rust Cursed Armor. Add 1 to save rolls for attacks that target the bear. In addition, the start of combat phase, you can pick an enemy hero that has an artifact of power within 3 inches of the bear. Roll 2d6. If it's greater than their bravery, that hero no longer bears that artifact of power. Interesting. If a weapon was picked when the artifact of power was given to that hero, the weapon reverts to normal. That's actually really nice because you can take out artifacts and you get +1 to save. Okay. I like that. Warpstone Charm. Subtract 1 from save rolls for enemy units within 3. At the start of your hero phase, roll a dice. On a 1, the bear suffers D3 mortal wounds. So that's still pretty crazy because if you put him near like a pack of clan rats or some shit, you know what I mean? And then you just hope that he doesn't roll ones anyway, but if he does, you just pass it off to the rats. Or even Storm Vermin, they can soak it up, but like subtracting 1 from save rolls for enemy units within 3 inches, like that's just an AoE -1 save bubble. Like that's actually kind of wild. Oh my god. Like these are actually pretty solid. Like, and it's not even wholly within. It's just within 3. So if you set him up properly and get him in there, like you can imagine playing against Nighthaunt or well, actually no, that wouldn't matter because they no, oh wait, no, it would because because it's not a rend, right? It's just affecting the save roll. I don't know. Either way, it's still pretty crazy. Clan Scryer Hero. At the start of each battle round, you receive an extra Warpstone Spark. The bear is on the battlefield. That Warpstone Spark can be used to carry out a Warpstone Spark ability with the bear in the battle round. If it's not used before the end of the battle round in which it was received, it is lost. Okay. Clan Scryer Hero only at the start of your movement phase. You can pick a friendly clan Scryer War Machine within 6 of the bear. Double that unit's move characteristic till the end of that phase. At the end of the phase, roll a dice. On a 1, it takes D3 mortal wounds. So essentially just, you know, overcharging the engines. Clan Scryer Hero. Once per battle, pick an enemy unit within 6, roll a dice. On a 3 up, remove it from the battlefield. At the end of the turn, your opponent must set up that unit again on the battlefield wholly within their territory more than 9 inches from all enemies. What? Okay, so so you have to roll a 3 up. So there's only a 66% chance of this happening. But if you pop this, that's insane. Imagine like somebody is trying to take a main objective with like something really crazy, like a dragon, like one of their main pieces. Let's say they had to like deep strike this thing in, they can test the objective, and then you're like, oh, I just teleported you out back to your home territory. Have fun. Like you just remove them from the game. Dude, that's actually pure, I love that. That's pure Skaven. Clan Pestilent now. Pick one of the bear's melee weapons. If the unmodified wound roll for an attack made with a weapon is a 6, that weapon has a rend characteristic of -3 and a damage characteristic of 6 for that attack. Woo! That is... Tell you what, if you put that on a Corruptor, which we're gonna get to, that could be spicy. At the start of your combat phase, pick an enemy within 3. On a 1-2, nothing happens. 3-4, they take D3. On a 5-6, they take D6. That's actually okay, I guess. Because you get to do it every combat phase. Because it's at the start of the combat phase. So you get to do that at your combat phase and your opponent's combat phase. So, I mean, you have potential to just do a lot, actually, now that I think about it. That's actually pretty good. Clan Pestilent Hero. The strike first effect applies to the bearer if it made a charge move in the same turn. Starting from the second battle round at the start of your hero phase, you must transfer the artifact to another Clan Pestilent Hero on the battlefield if it is possible to do so, even if the hero already has an artifact power. That's kind of cool, so it just keeps hopping between heroes and they all get to do the fight first. Or strike first. I like that a lot. I like all the Clan Pestilent Hero ones. Those are good. Alright, spell lores. Woo! We have Lore of Ruin, Grey Seer only. Scorch is a spell, casting value 5, range 13. Pick an enemy within range invisible to the caster, roll a number of dice equal to the casting roll. For each 6, takes mortal wound. Okay. Skitter Leap, casting value 6, range 13. Pick a hero with a wound characteristic of 13 or less within range invisible to the caster, and you can teleport them 9 inches away from all enemy units. That hero cannot move in the following movement phase. And then we have Death Frenzy, casting value 7, range 13. I realize everything's got a range of 13 because, you know, Skaven like the number 13. If successfully, or it's like they're holding, I don't even know what it is. I need to read the lore, but yeah. If successfully cast, pick one friendly Skaven unit that is not a hero within range invisible to the caster. Until your next hero phase, if any models in that unit are slain, those models can fight before they are removed from play. So that's pretty cool. You know, you get the, you know, even if they're going down, they're going to go down swinging. Although casting value 7's a little high, but still, that's pretty nice. Then we have Clan Scryer Wizard only. More warp power. Casting value 7, range 13. Pick a friendly Scryer unit wholly within range, visible to the caster. Add 1 to hit and wound rolls for attacks made by the unit till the end of the hero phase. And it takes D3 at the end of the phase. at the end of your next hero phase. Chain Warp Lightning is a spell that has a casting value of 7 and a range of 13. If successfully cast, each unit within range suffers a mortal wound. And then, wait. Each unit within range suffers a so it's just a big ass AoE 13-inch bubble. It does mortal wound. That's kind of fun, actually. Then Warp Lightning Shield, casting value 6. Until your next hero phase, first 3 wounds caused to the caster in each phase are negated. If it's a 4th wound caused to the caster suffers 3 mortal wounds and the spell's unbound. Okay, I don't know about that one. I guess it could be alright in situations. Then we got the prayers. Woo! Clan Pestilent Priest only. Disease! Prayers answer value of 3, range 13. Pick an enemy unit within range, invisible to the chanter. Roll a dice for each model in that unit. 5 ups. That unit suffers mortal wounds. Prayer has no effect on Nurgle units. That is very nice. Especially because it's for each model in the unit. So if they got a big horde of something, whoo. That's like, I mean, yeah, if they have, what? 40 models, that's like 33. On average, you're going to take out 33% of the 40. So, you know, a third of it. Filth is a prayer. Value 3, range 13. Pick a friendly pestilent unit within range visible to the chanter. Add 1 wound rolls for attacks made by that unit till your next hero phase. And then Rabid, same thing. And add 1 to the attacks characteristic of melee weapons used by that unit until your next hero phase. So, pretty solid prayers. Pretty solid. They also still have Curse, because that's the universal prayer. And those are all those. So now, we head on over to, I mean, there's your match play battle tactics and grand strategies. I always kind of skip over this, but, I mean, what do they have? Pick an enemy monster on the battlefield. You complete this tactic if that unit is destroyed this turn by missile weapons with a clan Scryer unit. I mean, that could be pretty good. You've got complete this tactic if 3 or more prayers chanted by different friendly clan Pestilent priests are answered in this turn. That seems likely, especially with the reroll. Enemy hero on the battlefield, wounds characteristic 10 or more, has 0 wounds allocated to it. Complete this tactic, heroes slain by Eshin. And then Rat Ogre on the battlefield, 3 or more wounds allocated to it. Complete if it has 0 wounds allocated to it at the end of this turn. Alright. So here we go. It's War Scroll time. Woo! Another drink here. All right. Thanquol on Bone Ripper. So the big thing here, Thanquol's gone up like 10 points. And I've seen people talking about Thanquol from the leaks that happened. And they're like, oh, he seems pretty good. I feel like people are underestimating how good Thanquol is. Because he's gone up like barely any points. And this rat ogre man are actually insane. So let's go over this, okay? So he still has all the things he had before. He's got 14 wounds, 4 up save, 7 bravery. Damage table. I believe this damage table's actually shrunk. It used to be like 5 columns. Now it's down to 4, so that's kind of a buff, actually. Takes longer to table him. The biggest thing here, all right? Staff of the Horned Rat. +3. He has +3 to casting. And that's not all. He used to only have +2 to casting, and that was it. Now he has +3 to casting, unbinding, and dispelling rolls. So not only does he get a bonus +1 to casting, but he gets a +1 to, or +3 to casting, unbinding, and dispelling. Like, that's insane. That's so good. That's like Lord Croak levels, dude. He just can't do it board wide. He's got a 5-up ward. This is another thing. This is crazy. Once per battle round. Okay, this isn't even once per battle. It's once per battle round. This unit can issue the same command up to 2 times in the same phase. If it does so, each command must be received by a friendly Skaven unit. No command point is spent the second time this unit issues that command in that phase. So you just get to issue all-out attack to something, and then you can be like, you know what? That thing also gets all-out attack, and I don't have to spend a command point to do it. Or like, that gets all-out defense, and that also gets all-out defense, and I don't have to spend a command point to do it. That's crazy! That's crazy! And then I believe he used to heal 1 at the end of the phase. Now he heals D3. I'm pretty sure that's what I think it was. He used to heal 1. Now it's D3. I'm like 80% sure. So that's also nice. And like for all this, and then he keeps everything else that he used to have, which is still really good. He also has the 3d6 roll. So you could try like super buff his casting. I mean, you're already +3 to casting, you know what I mean? Like, unless you're trying to do some crazy spell, you probably don't even have to do this. Or if you're like tabled down a bit. Like Thankful, I think he's crazy. And he's only gone up like 10 points, dude. Like, he's so good. All right, moving on. Lord Screech, Vermin King. I used to run Lord Screech a decent amount. I thought he was pretty fun, although he is, you know, a named rat. So he's got Prehensile Tail, 6-inch range, 4 attacks, 3x3, -1/1 damage. He's got the Doomglaive, 3-inch range, 6 attacks, 3x3, -2/2 damage. And then the Plague Reaper, 8 attacks, 3x3, -1/2 damage. He's got a ward of 5 up. He's got, at the start of the hero phase, pick one of the following areas. You get to pretty much do this every hero phase. You can do add 1 to casting, unbinding, dispelling rolls for this unit. He can also cast and unbind 2 spells. He can heal D3. He can do it so an unmodified hit roll for an attack made with his Plague Reaper is a 6. It causes a mortal wound in addition to any damage. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks that target this unit. This unit's Doomglaive has a rend characteristic of -3 and damage characteristic of 3. So if you really want to chunk something down, you go 6 attacks, probably make it 2x2, -3, 3 damage. Pretty good. And add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by this unit. The thing is, he has the Rat King. You can use his command ability when you pick a friendly Skaven unit to fight in the combat phase. Give it add 1 to hit and wound rolls. So the big thing here is, this is just Skaven unit. You can take this guy in Scryer. You can take him in Clan Pestilent. You can take him in any clan. And he is going to be able to buff your units. So he just straight up is like, hey, this unit gets +1 to hit and wound. So that's really good, especially with the amount you can mix and match now. And then, the dreaded 13th spell, he used to have this, but it's a casting value of 8. And for good reason, because 13-inch range, pick an enemy within range and roll 13 dice. For each 4 up, it suffers a mortal wound. So essentially you're doing like 6 to 7 mortal wounds on average. Then, you can then summon 1 unit of clan rats to the battlefield and add it to your army. Summon unit can have up to 1 model for each mortal wound that was caused by this spell. The summon unit must be set up wholly within range of the caster and more than 9 inches from all enemies. Cannot move in the following movement phase. However, because clan rats now have the one ability, hold on, that brings back clan rats. Here we are. At the end of the battle shock phase, you can return D3 slain models to this unit. So, oh, never mind. I was like, dude, you can bring back, you'll like bring in rats and then you can restore rats. I guess it's only slain rats. That's not as cool as I thought now. Still, I like Lord Screech a lot. Moving on. Vermin Lord Deceiver. 13, 4, 10 with a movement of 12. Doomstar, 13-inch D6 attacks, 3x3, -1/1 damage, and then 6-inch, you know, he's got the prehensile tail. Warp Stiletto, 6 attacks, 3x2, -3/2 damage. If an unmodified hit roll for an attack made by a Doomstar is a 6, it takes 2 mortal wounds and the attack sequence ends. So, that's pretty cool. You're just hopefully you're rolling high on the D6. It is kind of hard to get that, because you have D6 attacks. What if you roll like a 2, and then you got to roll like 2 dice and hope you get a 6 to do 2 mortal wounds? I mean, You can pick this clan ability when you pick a friendly clan action unit to fight in the combat phase. Add 1 to hit and wound rolls. So they all get add 1 to hit and wound rolls type thing. Lord Screech just gets it for all Skaven, but each one gets it for their own clan. So it's good to run a, you know, Vermin Lord that fits your clan, essentially. This unit cannot be picked as a target of a shooting attack unless the attacking model is within 9 inches. That's very nice. Just can't get shot by anything long range. And then he's got dreaded Skitter Leap. So, casting value of 6, range of 18. Pick a Skaven hero with a wounds characteristic of 13 or less. Within range, remove him from the battlefield, set him up again. More than 6 inches. So not only is it 9 inches, he get within 6 inches. Or a hero that you want to get close. That's really nice. A closer teleport ability to try and assassinate some stuff. So, not too bad. Then we have the Corruptor. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this guy can get a little crazy. But it's kind of swingy. So he's got all the same stuff we've seen already. He's got Plague Reapers, which used to be 10 attacks. Now it's 2d6 attacks, 3x3, minus 2 damage. Okay? But if the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with a Plague Reaper is a 6, it causes 1 mortal wound to the target in addition to any damage it inflicts. So that can get crazy. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you something. At the end of the combat phase, roll dice for each enemy within 3. 4 up, they take D3 mortal wounds. So that's pretty nice. It's like that artifact we saw. And then you can add 1 to hit and wounds for claimed Pestilent. And then he's got the Dreaded Plague. Pick an enemy unit within 13, casting value 7. Roll a dice for each model in the unit. Takes a mortal wound on a 4-up. So he's got a pretty solid list of abilities. But here's the thing I do. So you go back. This is what I was talking about earlier. You give this guy the command trait. Artifact? Is it command? The artifact. You give him the Blade of Corruption. Pick one of the melee weapons. If the unmodified wound roll for an attack made with that weapon is 6, weapon has a rend characteristic of -3 and damage of 6 for the attack. So you essentially hope you roll high in the Plague Reapers. Let's say you roll, I don't know, like a 7 or something, right? So you're getting 7 attacks. You can just pop a point so that you're 2x2, -3, 6 damage, as long as you roll a 6 on one of those wound rolls. You're banking on the wound rolls. But then in addition to that, you're doing unmodified hit rolls of 6, also do mortal wounds. So you're doing, if you roll insane, let's say you get like 10 to 12 dice, you're doing 10 to 12, 2x2s, -3, 6 damage with 6s to hit doing mortal wounds. And then you're hoping one of those wound dice is a 6, so it procs your thing. But if you get that, like, oh my god, you can do, like, you can destroy literally anything. Like, literally anything if you roll well. So, I like that. I like that combo. I think that's powerful meme plays. I'm definitely going to try it for the memes. And it'll probably, dude, it's going to be like, I'm going to roll, like, 2d6 and get, like, 3 dice. Roll 0 6s for hits and wounds. And then he's going to shit himself and die in a pool of Nurgle vomit. I don't know. All right. We got the Warbringer. Hold on. All right. We have 13 wounds, 4 up, save, 10 bravery. They pretty much all do 12-inch move. Prehensile Tails. Doomglaive. 3 inch range, 6 attacks, 3x3, -2 damage. Spike Fist. 2 attacks, 2x2, -2, 3 damage. It's got all the same things, but you can reroll wound rolls for attacks made by this unit while it is within 13 inches of 3 or more friendly Skaven units. And unmodified hit roll for attack made with a Spike Fist is a 6. The damage characteristic of that attack is a 6 instead of a 3. Although you're only getting that on 2 attacks, so I mean, you really gotta hope you roll well. He adds 1 to hit and wound rolls for Verminus. And then his spell is, 7-13. Pick up to D3 friendly Skaven units wholly within range, invisible to the caster, until your next hero phase. If any models in that unit are slain, those models can fight before they are removed from play. So pretty good. He seems okay. I feel like he just, like, if this was on the, I don't know, I'd almost rather have this be like a 2 becomes a 4 on the Doomglaive or something. I don't know, the Spike Fist seems a little crazy. But it is 2x2s if he's not table, I don't know. And then the Warp Seer. This is the guy I always used to run in the old one because he was always pretty busted. So he pretty much can do everything we've already seen. He's got the Doomglaive. The big thing here is he has 4th, Children of the Horn Rat. This used to be a command ability that made it so you didn't have to battle shock within like 20 something. Now it's friendly Skaven units wholly within 13 have a bravery characteristic of 10. So I've seen a lot of people being like, dude, the Skaven Bravery, they have nothing here. But here it is. You bring a Warp Seer and you stand them near everything. And your Bravery 10, congratulations. So I think that's the big thing here is this dude is going to get taken a lot because he's providing this essentially an immunity to battle shock. It's not immunity, but Bravery 10 is still pretty good. And it is wholly within 13. Not within, it's wholly within, but still not bad. He also counts as 2 Master Clan heroes for the purpose of the always 3 claw steps ahead battle trait. That's very nice, because you need 3, I believe, to get it, so that's already 2 with him. Add 1 to save rolls for targets, attacks that target this unit, so he's on a 3-up. If you're holding the orb, but then like the old one, you can pick an enemy unit within 13 and give up that orb and its +1 save and do d6 mortal wounds, but you then are on a 4-up. But obviously, if there's something you really want to kill, you can be like, yo, I'm popping this orb, and you just kill it. So that's nice. And then he has the dreaded Warp Gale, which is still an extremely strong spell. Casting value 8, range 18. Pick an enemy within range. It takes d6 mortal wounds, and run and charge rolls are halved until your next hero phase. If it can fly, it cannot fly. So you half its movement, it can't fly, and it takes mortal wounds. So that spell is still insane. They lowered the range on it, but I mean the board's smaller anyway, so I'm kind of like whatever. It's still really good. I think the Warp Seer is still really strong. Gray Seer. I feel like most people have seen this one already because it was in the Skaven versus Sylvaneth box, and it hasn't changed at all. You can pretty much crack the bell to try to summon in Vermin Lords. You get buffs and stuff for the Peel of Doom. There's a lot to read here. I mean, this one's pretty findable on the internet, so I mean, I'm not really going to cover this one. But what I am going to cover... Oh, I thought they were going to show the other... Well, we'll get to the other one. The Priest version. So we have Gray Seer, 6/5/5/6. They buffed his attacks, 3 attacks, 4x4, -1d3 damage. He can also do the thing where he rolls 3d6 and then remove one of the dice and use 2d6 as the casting roll. So if you roll like a 6/1/6, you take out the 1, you roll the 12, congratulations. But if the roll is a 13, spell is successfully cast, cannot be unbound, but the unit suffers d3 mortal wounds that cannot be negated. So you kind of want to roll a 13, and you kind of don't want to roll a 13 at the same time, depending. And then Wither. 7/13, pick an enemy unit, visible, roll 2d6. If the roll's greater than the unit's wound characteristic, suffers d3 mortal wounds, and you can subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made with your melee weapons by that unit until your next hero phase. Pretty good. The Arch Warlock. 6/6/6/3. He's got d3 attacks, 4x3, -2/2 damage. 1 attack, 4x3, -2/3 damage. Pretty solid. He's got 2 casts, 2 unbinds. Once per battle, in your shooting phase, you can pick one enemy in within 9 inches of this unit, visible to it, roll a dice. On a 2-up, it takes d3 mortal wounds. So that's pretty good. Before you make a hit and roll for attack with a Storm Cage Halberd, you can say it will overload its generator. If you do so, until the end of that phase, the attack characteristic of that weapon is a d6 instead of a d3. However, for each unmodified hit roll of 1, this unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. Woo! And then Warp Lightning Storm. 7/13, pick d3 different enemy units within range. Visible to the caster, those each suffer d3 mortal wounds. Alternatively, you can say it will go crazy, and then they suffer d6 mortal wounds instead. But if it is not successfully cast, the unit suffers 2d6 mortal wounds that cannot be negated. So, the good old Skaven do or die, essentially. You're either blowing them up or blowing yourself up. And that's what I love. I love when you get some of that with Skaven. Because, you know, sometimes you're like, you know what? You got to go big or go home, you know? I think that's what Skaven's all about. All right. Warlock Engineer. This is big because Warlock Engineer and Warlock Bombardier are now keywords. So Bombardier used to be able to use the Warp Lightning Cannon And now the Warp Lightning Cannon says a Warlock Engineer. But that's a Warlock Bombardier. So I'm like, I don't think the Bombardier can impact the Warp Lightning Cannon anymore. I don't think he can, unless I'm reading something wrong. I don't think he can. So the Engineer, 3 attacks, 3x3 -2, 1 damage. D3 attacks, 4x3 -1, 1 damage. He's got, before you make a hit roll for an attack made with a Warp Energy Blade, you can say it's overloaded. Attack characteristics D6 instead of D3, but on a roll of 1, you suffer D3 mortal wounds after the attack's been resolved. And then Warp Lightning, which is the same as the Arch Warlock, but it's just 1 target instead of D3 targets. Then we have the Bombardier. So he's got his Doom Rocket, D3 attacks, 4x3 -1, 3 damage. 1 attack, 4x4 and 1 damage. He can cast, he can unbind. Actually, so can the Engineer. These are pretty much like all casters. Before you make a hit roll for an attack with a Doom Rocket, you can say the Engineer's overloaded it. It's an attack characteristic of D6 instead of D3, but each unmodified hit of 1, unit suffers D3 after the attack's been resolved. So, I believe the Bombardier used to be able to do D6 damage. Now it's just 3. And now the attacks are what you're kind of hoping for, right? But, I mean, you can still do a decent amount, but at -1 rend, like, I don't know. It's a little weird now. Well, he's different, but he could still be alright if you're getting D6 attacks, and then, you know, you can still potentially do like 6 to 9 damage or something like that. We'll see. Storm Fiends. Storm Fiends are a lot. They pretty much have stayed the same, but there are some small differences. I think some things that used to be like 4s to hit are now 3s. The big one that I noticed is that you no longer can get trapped underground and suffocate. Now you just straight up have a Grinder Fist Tunneler that sets up as a reserve, and then it can just pop up 9 inches away from enemy units. No longer do you have to like roll a 2-up or a 3-up or whatever it was. That's very nice, because I've played against people that had their Storm Fiends stuck underground, and it was just sad. So, you know, a little more modernized. But, I mean, Storm Fiends, listen, they're still Storm Fiends. They're still really good. A little pricey, though. We got Warp Lightning Cannons. Pretty much exactly the same as they used to be. In fact, I think outside of the fact that it only says Warlock Engineer, it's like exactly the same. So, if you like your Warp Lightning Cannons, congratulations. They're the same. Scryer Acolytes. 6641. 9-inch range. 1 attack, 3x3 -2, D3 damage. This unit can run and still shoot. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with a globe if this model targets a unit with 10 or more models. So, if you're trying to break up hordes, you're essentially doing 3x2 -2 D3 damage, which is pretty insane. If you even have 5 of these guys, you could do a pretty spicy amount of damage. You know, even I think if you take like 5 Acolytes and you just use them as a unit that just goes around kind of busting up stuff, causing a little havoc, and everyone's like, God, those Acolytes. But they only have 1 wound and a 6-up save. These are like literal glass cannons. So, a little risky, but I think they're super cheap. Doom Wheel. From what I've seen, the Doom Wheel is still exactly the same. I thought they might buff it a little bit, but it's still okay. You know, it's kind of a meme pick, but it can still do some damage if you roll well. It's just fun, honestly. I don't think there's anything they changed with it. I'm trying to like look through. No, it's like exactly the same. So cool. Now we have the kind of war hidden weapon teams, is what I'm trying to say. So the Warp Fire Throwers do not use the attack sequence for an attack made with a Warp Fire Thrower. Instead, roll a dice for each model in the unit. 4-ups are mortal wounds. Before you pick the target for an attack made with a Warp Fire Thrower, you can say the crew are disabling the flow regulator. You can increase the range to 12 and for the attack and add 1 to the roll that determines if the enemy model suffers a mortal wound. However, each one gives the Warp Fire Thrower a mortal wound, and they only have 3 wounds. So you're probably going to die after all its attacks have been resolved. Then the Hidden Weapon Team. So this was a thing that became a Skaven thing in the Kragnos book. When you select this unit to be part of your army, you can pick a friendly Clan Rat or Storm Vermin unit that is already part of your army to be the unit in which this unit is hiding. That has 10 or more models. Wait. Okay, Storm Vermin. I almost thought it said Storm Fiend. I was like, what? Record this information on a separate piece of paper. Do not set it up. So pretty much, Clan Rat, Warfire 3 units are destroyed if the unit in which they are hiding is destroyed before they are revealed. Start your shooting phase, you can reveal this unit. If so, set it up wholly within 3 and 3 inches from all enemy units, and it can shoot in the phase in which it's revealed as long as the unit in which it was hiding did not run in the same turn. So, it could have retreated. So pretty much these can just pop out. So these are like, oh, my opponent has a pack of 20 Clan Rats, whatever. They're getting close to me, and then all of a sudden this Warp Fire Thrower or a Rattling Gun pops out, and it's like, whoa, you didn't see me. And it's actually very fun and very Skaven. I'm glad they kept it and put it for a bunch of different units. It's very thematic for the army, I think. I think it's really cool. So I'm actually going to do the Rattling Gun first because it's pretty similar. So now the Rattling Gun is 2d6 plus 3 attacks. So they also made it so you can go crazy and do 4d6 plus 3 attacks. However, the roll, if it includes any doubles, this unit's destroyed after it does all its attacks. So they gave it a little more stability with the plus 3. I like that they've done that. It actually helps quite a bit for the stability. Because if you roll like 4 1s, you're like, great. But at least if you roll 4 1s now, it's like, you at least get some shots off, you know? Warplock Gizelles, I think, are kind of insane. So they were already strong, but like, they dropped 30 points. So they're like 120 points for 3 now. 6-inch move, 2 wounds, 5 up save, 4 bravery. If an unmodified hit roll for an attack with a Gizelle 6 takes 2 mortal wounds and the attack sequence ends. You can add 1 to hit rolls for attacks with Warplock Gizelles if this unit remains stationary, and add 1 to save rolls for attacks with missile weapons to target this unit. So it's saving on 4s if you're somebody shooting at you. And then, if you have like a unit of 3 of them, let's just say standard 3 unit for 120, you have 3 attacks, essentially 2x3s, minus 2 for 2 damage, and then 6s to hit are just doing mortal wounds. So I mean, even if you don't mortal wound, odds are you're still going to do a minus 2 rend hit for 2 damage, which is still crazy. So if you just take a pack of 6 of these for 240, you're getting 6 attacks, 30-inch range, 2s by 3s, 6s to hit doing mortals, minus 2 damage. That's still crazy. And then you can pop your Clan Scryer thing, so it's 3 damage. So if you really want to snipe something out, you can straight up just be like, all right, I'm going to target that, 6 attacks, 2x3, minus 2, 3 damage, mortal wounds also possibly on 6s to hit. Like, they're crazy. They're crazy. Oh, the Doom Flare. Oh, man. So this thing used to suck. This thing used to be ass. And now, it's gone up 5 points. It's now 65 instead of 60. But, I think it's worth it. Moves 2d6, 3 wounds, 5 save, 4 bravery. It's essentially just a tiny little vehicle. But now, it does d6 attacks, 3x3, minus 2 damage. I believe it used to be minus 1 damage. So that's for 5 points, that's a spicy upgrade to this thing. And add 1 to the attack characteristic of Whirling Blades if it made a charge move. It has Hidden Weapon Team, so this thing can like pop out from 3 inches, charge in. So you're essentially d6 plus 1. And before you determine the attack characteristic of the blades, you can say the crew kicked it into overdrive. You roll 2d6. However, if you roll a double or a 7, the unit's destroyed. But I mean, you just do that anyway, who cares? So you're essentially doing 2d6 plus 1. 3x3 minus 2 damage for 65 points? Mickey Mouse? Are you kidding me? This thing's insane. Like, okay, you get close with rats. This thing pops out, charges in. Let's say you even just roll average, right? You roll, 3. So you get like 7 attacks, Let's say you give it the +1 to hit and wounds. 7 attacks, 2x2, -2 damage. That's still insane. I mean, this thing can just put out like 10 damage like it's nothing. Like, for 65 points. This is like, it went from being a garbage trash unit to a thing that can actually do stuff. Like, I think this is great. I might include this in like almost everything I run. Like, straight up. Like, wow. It's like possible most improved unit. Even though it's so cheap, it's still like the output. And then it's still got rusty knives. So if it doesn't kill anything, you know, it might, you know, take some 50-50 coin flips on the 1 damage hit. I've seen those hit before. That's crazy. Then we have the Warp Grinder. During deployment, instead of, well, it's got D6, 3x3, -2, 1 damage. Or 2 damage. Okay, better than I thought. If you would set up a friendly Skaven unit that is not a monster or war machine during deployment, you can say, we'll join this unit in tunneling. At the end of your movement phase, you can set up the unit on the battlefield more than 9 inches, blah, blah, blah. So essentially, Warp Grinder just makes it so you can deep strike something, which is great. And it actually has a pretty decent attack too, so I mean, cool. We got the Plague Priest. Add 1 to the attack characteristic of this unit's melee weapons if it made a charge move in the same turn. Subtract 1 from wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons that target this unit. That's pretty solid. It's a 6/5/5/6. You're getting D3 attacks, 3x3 -1/1 damage, 2 attacks, 4x3 -1/1 damage. And it has a Pestilence Prayer. 13-inch, 3-up, and a 4-up. The unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. If it's a Pestilent unit, it heals D3. So he can heal or do damage, which is pretty cool. The Plagueclaw, one of my favorite Skaven units that used to be ass, and now it's slightly less ass. But it means I'm still going to take it. So it's, I believe it's like 100 and... How many points is this? Hold on, let me check. Let me check here. It's like 120? 135. Okay, so 135. You get a 3-inch move, 6 wounds, 5 up save, 4 bravery, 6 to 30 inches, 1 attack, 3x2 -2 d6 damage. It adds 2 to battle shock rolls for units targeted by friendly units with this ability during that turn. And in addition, the target of an attack made with the Plagueclaw does not have to be visible, which is great. And in addition, the target unit has 10 or more models. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks with Plagueclaw Catapult and increase the damage to 2d6. So this thing is going 2x2s if you're shooting at a horde unit, which I hope you are. Not even a horde unit, just a infantry unit. 2x2s, -2, which most infantry units have terrible saves anyway. 2d6 damage. I think it's pretty good. That may be my bias and my wish for this thing to be really good speaking, and it probably is, but it's better than it used to be. I think the fact that you can essentially get this to a 2x2, -2 for d6, or 2d6, I think if I run 2 of these, you're bound to hit with 1, and that's just 2d6 damage right off that, right? Right? I'm gonna run 2 Plagueclaws, and I'm gonna report back. I really want it to be good, and I really want it to be good. And I mean, listen, it's actually not terrible now. It used to be not great, and I'd run it for memes, but now I feel like it's the don't roll a 1 machine. If you don't roll 1s, this thing can do some hefty damage. I mean, I killed a general with this thing. I legit shot at a general, and I did 6 damage on the D6, and it killed a guy. So I mean, it could do some sniping out there. 30-inch range, you just set up in the back. So here we go. This is what I was going to talk about earlier. The Plague Priest on Plague Furnace. We've got 15 wounds, 4 up save, 10 bravery. We've got the Great Plague Censer, the Warpstone Tip Staff, D3 attacks, 3x3 -1/1 damage, 2-inch range. Folded Blades, 6 attacks, 3x4, 1 damage. Rusty Spikes, 6 attacks, 3x3 -1/1 damage. However, it's a priest, so obviously you get a prayer. That's big, especially with, you know, +1 chanting to other priests within 13 or whatever it is, right? 5-up ward. In addition, do not take battle shock tests for friendly Skaven units holding 13 in this unit. So unlike the Screaming Bell, the Plague Furnace still has a 13-inch battle shock test bubble. So that's really big. There's people I've seen all over being like, where's the battle shock bubble? Well, there it is. It's on the Priest Furnace. Plus, okay, the Great Plague Sensor. This thing's wild. Do not use an attack sequence for the Great Plague Sensor. Instead, pick an enemy unit within range, which is 3 inches. On a 2-up, it suffers mortal wounds. And if you're at 0 to 6 wounds suffered, that's D3 plus 4 mortal wounds. So a potential 5 to 7 mortal wounds from this thing, in addition to the rest of its attacks. That's pretty good. Just straight up charging in and being like, woo, mortal wounds. Like, that's really good. Subtract 1 from wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons that target this unit. I have to sneeze. I sneezed. And then it's got Pestilence, which the other priests have. But I think this might be a pick in a lot of people's lists now. Like the Plague Priest on the Plague Furnace, you get the Priest. So you get access to the Great Plagues. You get the Mortal Wounds. You get the Battle Shock Bubble. Like, this thing is pretty solid. I feel like it might be the pick, especially if you're playing Clan Pestilent. Like, then we have Plague Monks. 6/6/5/1. One model can be a bringer of the world. And then you've got your standard bearer. 1 in every 10 can be the bearer of an icon of entropy. Each time a model from this unit is slain by an attack with a melee weapon, before removing that model from play, roll dice on a 6. Pick an enemy unit within 3, and it takes a mortal wound. Add 1 to run and charge rolls. In your hero phase, you can pick an enemy unit within 13 with the Bringer of World. 1 to 2, nothing happens. 3, 4, they take a mortal. 5, 6, they take D3 mortals. No effect on Nurgle units. And then an unmodified hit roll for an attack made with a melee weapon by the unit 6. It has a rend of -2 instead of nothing. Add 1 to the attack characteristic of melee weapons if it made a charge. So 2 attacks, 3/4, 1 damage. 2 attacks, 4/4, 1 damage. I do think Plague Monks have gotten... They're definitely different. I think they used to be better in terms of like exploding or whatever it was, but I didn't really run Clan Pestilence, so I can't really do many, hot takes on this, but they seem okay. I'm gonna tell you why I'm running them. Because Plague Sensor Bearers. These resin-ass... I feel like these are the salamanders of Skaven. You know how Seraphon had salamanders become really good? Those ugly-ass resin models or fine cast? That's Plague Sensor Bearers. Listen to how crazy these things are, alright? 6-inch move, 6-up save, so save is garbage, 5 bravery, but they have 2 wounds. And here's the thing. Add 1 to the attack characteristic if this unit made a charge move, so you get +1 to attack if you charge. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks if it is wholly within 18 of any friendly Plague Monks, and subtract 1 from wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons that target this unit. So, if you run 10 of these, because with the new unit coherency, you can attack with 2 lines, you have 4 attacks each, so that's what? 5 to 20, 40 attacks if you charged, 40 attacks. If you all-out attack, you get 2s/2s if the Plague Monks are nearby, -1, 2 damage. That seems insane. 40 attacks at 2x2 -1, 2 damage. Like, even if you even 3s/2, like this just seems like it could get crazy. Like, if you really need to kill something, Plague Sensor Bears, I think, could actually do something real good. Like, they're not doing mortal wounds, but still, like, there's so many attacks coming in at you, and a lot of them are going to be hitting that, like, it might not even matter. I really like Plague Sensor Bears a lot. And they can be battle line if you have a Pestilent General. So that's another big thing. They can be battle line. And, yeah. Claw Lord. 6546, 6 attacks, 3/3 -1/2 damage. I think they used to be like 3 attacks, so they definitely got buffed. Add the number of wounds allocated to this unit to the attack characteristic of this unit's melee weapons. So I mean, if it's taking 3 wounds, you're like 9 to 10 attacks, 3/3 -1/2 damage. Woo! Unit uses command ability when you pick Clan Verminus unit to fight in the combat phase. It must receive the command, add 1 to the attack characteristic of the unit's melee weapons in that phase. Plus you get another one. But I imagine you would use that on like actual units, you know what I mean? So yeah. You got the Spike Claws. I believe their scrolls are okay, as are most of the, you know, Underworld, Warcry scrolls. I mean, you can look at them. I'm not really going to go through them. I never really run many outside of like the Beast of Chaos one. Clan Rats are the same as the box. But I mean, if you could get +1 attacks with that, with the Verminus Generals, that's pretty neat. The Storm Vermin are probably the craziest ones, because they're already at 3/3 -1/1 damage. And if you give them 3 attacks instead of 2 attacks, mamma mia. Plus, they can, on 4-ups, they can take wounds or mortal wounds away from heroes. So they can soak the wound, they get bodyguard essentially. The champion adds 1 to attacks. They can retreat and still charge later in the turn if it includes any Storm Vermin standard bearer, which is very good. And add 2 to run rolls. So, very nice. Now we get to Clan Moulder, which I don't really know much about. So I never really played Clan Moulder. I'm gonna take a drink. Anyway. Pack Masters, 6265. I'm not even gonna like give my opinion. I'm just gonna kind of go through it. 3-inch range, 1 attack, 4/4, 1 damage, 2, 4, 4, 1, 2, 1, 4, 4, 1, -1, 2. They can add 3 to run rolls and charge rolls for a unit. So that seems pretty good. And add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by that unit. The same unit cannot benefit from this ability more than once per turn. All right. Master Moulder, 6556. 3-inch range, 6 attacks, 3/4 -1/1 damage. 4 attacks, 4/4 -1/2 damage. Pick a Moulder pack. Until your next movement phase, you can add 3 to run rolls, charge rolls for that unit. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with melee weapons by that unit. Cannot benefit more than once per turn. You can heal D3 wounds allocated to a Moulder pack unit. And unleash more beasts, which is that one thing we saw earlier. On a 3-up, you just replace a unit. So still really good. Essentially, it's that command ability for, not command ability, the artifact command trait as a command ability. So he seems pretty good. Hell Pit Abomination. Woohoo! 2d6 move, 14 wounds, 5 up saves, 6 bravery. He's got Avalanche of Flesh. Do not use attack sequence for an attack made with Avalanche of Flesh. Instead, roll a number of dice equal to the number of models in the target unit that are within range. You can re-roll any of the dice. This unit made a charge in the same turn. For each roll, it's equal to or greater than the Avalanche of Flesh value. Target suffers a mortal wound, which is a 2-up. So if you charge into a big pack of something, you can do, let's say you charge into like, it's a 3-inch range. Let's say you charge in like 20 models. That's 20 dice, 2-ups or mortal wounds, and if you charged, you re-roll ones. Like that's, and even if you're on 3-up, you can re-roll 1s and 2s then. Like, whoa, this man is a horde killer. You can also heal up to D3 wounds. I believe it used to be 1 and now it's D3. Maybe that's what I was thinking instead of thankful, or maybe they both got it. I don't know. You ignore spells and endless spells on a 4-up. And then, first time this unit's destroyed, if you roll a 1, it's dead. On a 2 to 4, it dies, but it does D3 to everything within 3. And on a 5-6, it's alive and heals D6. So, here's the thing. Hell Pit Abomination is like 200 and... What is it? 245 points. For 245 points, this thing is insane. Like straight up, this is so good for 245, and it gets a mutation. Like, whoo. Like even if you're not Clan Moulder, I believe you still get the mutation, right? I think I read that correctly. It's just if you run more with a Moulder general, then you all get mutations. I mean, it just seems really good. Rat Ogres. 7-inch move, 6 wound, 4 up save, 5 bravery. Warp fire guns do D3 attacks, 4x3 -1/2 damage. 4 3x3 -1/2 damage. If the unmodified hit roll for attack with tearing claws, blades, fangs is 6, it scores 2 hits instead of 1. I believe they got buffed pretty heavily, although I think they lost access to mutations. However, I think that's why they buffed them very heavily. Rat Swarms, 5/5/5, 1 damage. At the end of battle shock, you can return a slain rat to the unit. 6 move, 4 wounds, 10 bravery. Your classic sit on the point unit, or just be an annoying unit. Giant Rats, 8-inch move, 1 wound, 3 bravery. 2 attacks, 4x4, 1 damage. Improve rend if the teeth of the teeth by 1 if it has 3 to 5 models. Improve the rend of this unit's vicious teeth by 2 if it has 6 or more models. I believe this used to be like 10 or 20, so the fact that it's now 3 to 5 or 6 is very nice and very 3.0 instead of like 1 or 2.0. Deathmaster, I don't believe he's changed at all from what we've seen. You can take a look if you want, but everybody I think has seen him already from the box. This is the Warcry Underworld thing. I actually don't know if this is good. I'm also not a Clan Eshin person, so if you want to like pause and take a look, be my guest. I honestly don't know, but maybe they're good. I don't know. You can take a look if you want. Then we have Gutter Runners, which I think, after comparing them with the old book, look pretty good. 7-inch move, 5 up save, 5 bravery, 1 wound, but they have a 12-inch range on the throwing stars, 3 attacks, 4x4, 1 damage. 6 is to hit, do mortal wounds, and the attack sequence ends. They can run and still shoot later in the turn. Their melee is 2 attacks, 3x3 -1, 1 damage. And during deployment, you can put this in reserve, and then Deep Strike, wholly within 6 of a terrain feature and more than 9 inches from all enemy units. So still pretty cool. They kind of, show up in a ruin, essentially. And then Night Runners, 1 attack, 4x5, 1 damage. Stabbing Blade, 4x4, 1 damage. Same thing, 6 is to hit, do mortal wounds. They can run and still shoot. And after deployment, but before the first battle round, this unit can make a normal move of up to 2d6. So that's pretty cool. Although they have 4 bravery. And then we have the Endless Spells, which I believe this is like exactly the same. However, it dropped like 30 points. So, I mean, it might be worth taking now because it's like 30 points cheaper. I believe the Vortex only dropped like 10 points or something, but it's still pretty good. You can take a look if you want, but I'm pretty sure all these are like the same. And then the Bell of Doom is actually pretty nice because it can also offer some battle shock resistance. Do not take battle shock tests for Skaven. Wholly within 13 of this endless spell, subtract 1 from bravery of other units within 13 of this endless spell. After the endless spell is moved, roll 3d6 on a 13. Each unit within 13 suffers d3, and then the endless spell is removed. So, and then Gnaw Holes are the other big thing that's got some little tweaks to it. So it still has 1 to chanting and casting within 3 inches of a Gnaw Hole. Not wholly within, just 3 within, which is nice. But now you have to, once per turn, at the end of your movement phase, you can pick 1 friendly Skaven wholly within 6 and set it up again wholly within 6 of a different Gnaw Hole that does not have any enemy units within 3 and more than 9 inches from all enemy. The big thing here is that you no longer need a hero. You used to need a hero with that unit to be able to do it. Now you can just, whatever unit it is, even if it's a hero, whatever it is, you can just warp to different Gnaw Holes, which is great. The other big change used to be wholly within 6 inches of the battlefield edge. Now it's wholly within 8 of the battlefield edge, which, believe it or not, actually makes a pretty big difference because you can kind of squeeze those up a bit further on the board and get some good board blocking, essentially. Get your opponent, kind of stranded by the impassable terrain. And then you know, you have a little more maneuverability of your gnaw holes and your ability to kind of, you know, position yourself to teleport around. So I actually really like the gnaw hole changes a lot. And then there's all the points, which again, it seems like a lot of things actually went down in points, which is crazy. And then other things went up not even that much. Like again, Thankful went up like 10 points, but he's like way better. I think the Vermin Lords went up the most. That's a little wacky, but I mean, for the most part, go back here. Whoops, I hit the camera, sorry. A lot of things just went down in points, which every Battletome I've seen most units go up in points, so the fact that things stay the same or like go down in points is actually really good for Skaven. And then their only ally is Magakin of Nurgle if the general is Clan Pestilent, as you would expect. But that is the Skaven book, and I don't know, but I'm a fan. I actually think it's really good. I think it's gonna fit well into, I think it fits well into the current meta or the next meta. I think it's just really good. They have so many units, they have so much to choose from, there's so many different options. I think it's really good. I think it just took what they had. I know a lot of people wanted like brand new stuff, but I feel like it took what they had and just gave it more stability. And that's really what I wanted. I just wanted the wackiness, but with more stability. And I feel like that's what this book did. So I'm really happy with it. I'm pumped. I'm ready for a hot rat summer. And let me know down in the comments section below what you think. And, you know, good old like, comment, subscribe. I'm going to go stand up because it's been an hour and 20 minutes of recording this. And, yeah. Okay. Okay. See ya.